When it comes to the season of Taurus, it's important to recognize that this season isn't just about the characteristics of somebody born within this season. It's actually about how this season impacts you when it comes to materializing and manifesting the things that you desire, when it comes to ultimately coming into understanding as to who you are as a creator. So, what I want you to do is I want you to take notes on understanding this season of Taurus and how it actually impacts you when it comes to manifestation. All the seasons, all of the zodiac, all of the signs, they represent a yearly cycle. And along this journey of the cycle are moments where you need to be mindful about particular characteristics and attributes of that season as it pertains to the thing that you are desiring to materialize. So let's get into it. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD, an ordained minister of metaphysical sciences, the study of spirituality. I am also the author of The Enlightened Shadow and Spiritual, Not Religious, both available on Amazon and Audible. Taurus, the bull. When we think about Taurus, we often think about the characteristics of somebody who's a Taurus, right? We have fun with this idea of understanding their sign and then categorizing them as this archetype, right? But there's so much more to astrology and the zodiac than just simply categorizing people in a particular characteristic or personality trait. What I want you to understand is that as you set out to achieve particular goals, as you learn to master manifestation, as you learn to come into who you truly are and what your purpose is, it's important to recognize that these signs are basically a cycle, a rhythm, a pattern that you are to recognize and understand along your journey of manifestation, because they actually give you insight as to what phase, what thing about the manifestation of that desire should you be focusing on. For example, we just previously discussed Aries. The sign of Aries is about initiating. It's about action, right? It's about moving with faith and just taking action. And then we don't focus on figuring out the details until later on in the cycle. So as we get into the next season, right after Aries, it is Taurus. Now, Taurus, we get more rooted into intention, really thinking about what your intention is behind the thing that you wish to materialize. The great thing about really getting into this cyclical nature, right, this cycle of manifestation, is that most people think that what they want is the same as what they desire. But I find that what you want is very superficial. It's very, shallow, and it doesn't really relate to the core of who you are. It may give you a sign and indication, but most times the things that people want, they're not willing to work for. They're not willing to figure out exactly what it is that they want and how, and apply, their natural ability to create and the tools that you have available to you. You're not putting it forward. And so you say you want something, but yet you're not doing the things to get it. But desire, on the other hand, is different, because when you desire something, there's a yearning for it. There's a sense of you are constantly being reminded and you are thinking of this thing. It is haunting you, especially when you're not living in alignment with that desire. And so the desire is pushing you forward, right? It is pulling you, and it is something you cannot avoid. But the things that we want, oftentimes we can avoid, right? Oftentimes we procrastinate with that thing. Desire, on the other hand, will move you forward. And so as you go through this cycle of manifestation using the zodiac, using astrology, you will naturally come into understanding as to what you truly desire, because each season will get you further and further along the path of clarity. Okay. I really wanted to get that point across because it's very important to understand why this process of using the astrology cycle and calendar as a map for manifestation. Okay. So Taurus is rooted in intention. It is also rooted in embodiment, embodying value, recognizing that thing that you desire. It is getting into real clarity of why do you desire it. Embodying the value, understanding that it is something rooted in you that cannot be changed, something that is constantly pushing and pulling at you. Okay. Taurus is a season, and when it comes to manifestation, it's a season of the earth, right? It's ruled by Venus. It is ultimately, it's nurturing. Its role in manifestation is nurturing. Okay. It is about sustaining what is initiated, right? Aries was the initiation phase where we start everything, where we begin, and we just start from a place of desire and then moving. All right. Desire, then movement. Now in Taurus, we're in the phase of nurturing and sustaining this movement. Now, the nurturing part is the most important part, because nurturing can be also referred to as maybe strategy, right? Building a foundation, asking questions, getting clarity, even accepting criticism, meaning that people are giving you input. You're receiving input. You are taking away the excess of the thing that you desire and how to create and materialize that thing. And you are really getting to the purity of that desire. Very important. Okay. Now, you have to understand that because it is related to the element of earth, this is a grounding moment, a grounding phase where you are now like stabilizing. Aries is more explosive, right? It can be all over the place. And that's usually how we start things, and we should. Most times people don't achieve their desire and materialize that which they desire because they don't start. They think that they have to have a plan before they start, when in fact, the best way to approach it is to start and then adjust the plan. Okay. To customize a plan based on what you are experiencing from the initiation. Okay. You are now starting to stabilize, right? The explosion of Aries is boom, let's go. Whereas now that we're in Taurus season, you're going to be more stable in your approach. You're going to kind of find a trajectory, a direction which you want to go. Okay. Instead of just going all over the place. And Aries tends to be like that as far as going all over the place. And when it comes to that time of season, it's very important. But now that we've started, we have to stabilize and begin gaining focus, gaining clarity, being clear as to your intention. All right. Now, the energetic shift from Aries to Taurus is really remembering that Aries is about the spark, right? The spark of inspiration, right? The spark to take action and actually take action. Whereas Taurus, the energy of Taurus is actually to slow it down. So you may find that there's a pattern of balance happening where Aries is a spark, explosion, action, fast. And then the next sign, Taurus, which is more slowing things down. Okay. And slowing things down in order for you to build, in order for you to nurture, in order for you to stabilize that energy, because you can't be all over the place in your energy because you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. And also, if you're all over the place with your energy is going to go places that it shouldn't, right? When you can conserve that energy and direct it toward a singular objective, a singular desire. And that's what you really want, because that is going to bring that desire into fruition, is going to materialize that desire a lot quicker than if you're all over the place. You know, I was somebody who was all over the place when it comes to starting. I can start. But then it took some time for me to realize, well, nothing is materializing because I'm not getting stable in it. I'm not using that Taurus energy to slow down on this idea, recognize that it takes finesse, it takes patience, it takes, fine tuning, it takes polishing. And when you do that, then you start to notice that the energy that you're putting towards it is actually not only, you're not only feeling like it's going to create results, but even in the moment of building, of doing, you are feeling fulfilled. You know, Taurus is the energy of building. So, when you think about a house and you're building a house with bricks, you're putting one brick at a time. And as you place that brick, you are actually seeing the formation of that house, that thing that you desire. So a key question to ask yourself is, what do I desire? Okay. What do I truly value, and how can I build a life around that? Really take some time and think about that. What do you truly desire? And how can you build a life around that? Because that is going to support you not only in materializing this thing, but also materializing and understanding your purpose. For me, the biggest, most impactful lesson that I've learned throughout my life is that if there is something that I value, that I truly desire, and I build my life around that thing, the success of that thing is guaranteed. The success of that thing is pretty much something that I can see happening as I am doing it. It's almost like, you are walking a path. You can see the end, you can see the finish line of that path as you are doing it, because you are completely focused on everything that you have available to you. You're focused on that particular objective. So that's the way you need to be approaching this season. You need to be thinking about it in terms of that. So Taurus season is about patience. Okay. It's about taking a step back. You've acted, you've taken the initiative, you have created momentum. Now it's about being patient, trusting, like the divine timing of things, allowing for growth, and just trusting the fact that you initiated, you started, and you are seeing progress, right? Because you're focused, and you make sure that your life and all that you do comes back to this objective, this desire, this thing that you want. Then it's just allowance. It's just letting the universe catch up to you, right? Remember, your mind, your imagination is instant. This is what makes you such a powerful being. This is why I say you are a creator. That is your nature, because that happens instantaneously. Whereas out here in the universe, this physical realm, things take what we call time, right? It takes time to accumulate the material, to accumulate and access the people. Okay. And so we have to honor that because we're here on this physical realm. So we have to honor these physical laws and rules. Okay. Another thing that this season of Taurus represents is embodiment. Embodiment ultimately means that you are aligning your thoughts, you are aligning your desires with the physical body and senses, right? You are aligning all aspects of you. This is why I mentioned before, using all the tools available to you. Your thoughts, what you're feeling, what you desire, what it is that you feel and understand as meant for you. Essentially, that's what our desires are. It is our consciousness pulling us to the thing that is meant for us. You see? And so when you recognize that you have to align those energetic, frequencies, vibrations, feelings with the physical body, with your senses, then you actually find yourself in a place of embodying that which you desire. That is when we talk about in manifestation, being the person you need to be in order to create the thing that you desire. It doesn't happen the other way around. You don't get the thing that you desire and then become the person that is deserving of that thing. You have to be the person. You have to embody the essence of a person that has the thing that you desire in order for you to actually materialize it. Okay. Another important characteristic is value, self-worth. Very important. See, this is the time to get grounded in all those things. Self-worth, knowing what it is that you deserve. And it's not a matter of thinking in terms of, I work hard, so I deserve this. No, you deserve it because you are a creator. It is your birthright. Simply existing, being here, means that you have access, that it is your right to have whatever it is that you desire. You just have to embody that desire. You see, it's about building up a valuable life this season of Taurus. Building up a life where you actually feel a sense of gratitude, almost a sense of pride in your life. And that's what you want to bring into this embodiment, bring into the element of trusting in divine timing and the allowance of growth, right? Anything that is valuable has a gestation period, has a moment of time that it requires to be nurtured, to grow. Anything that is instant usually has no value. So you have to recognize that, again, it all comes full circle with Taurus's energy of intention, of making sure that you are clear about the value that you wish to have from the thing that you desire, but also the value that you and the thing can actually bring to the collective, to the universe as a whole. Because remember, you attracting that thing, materializing that thing, will assure and reinforce your nature as a creator. Then as a creator, that extends itself out. That sense of confidence, gratitude, right, power extends itself out to everything else. So yes, you materializing that which you desire is actually going to impact the universe, the world as we know it. All right. Consistency is another thing. You have to establish habits. You have to establish practices and rituals. If you want to lose weight, you have to make a habit of eating particular things, of moving a particular way or in a particular level of intensity. Consistency is important. If you want to be in a loving relationship, communication on a consistent basis is vital. So you have to use this time to create those moments, those rituals, those practices, those habits. And then as you think about already where we have gone, we've only covered 2 seasons. Aries, now we're in Taurus. Aries, you started. Taurus, now you're getting grounded. Okay. You're building the foundation. You're starting to cultivate the habits, the principles, right? And that is going to, in fact, through the remainder of this secular year, it is going to take you through the journey of materialization. Grounding is very important right now. So you have to root your desires into this physical world. Do not live with the existence that your desires is separate from the physical world. It isn't. Okay. There is a process, yes, from which the desires materialize into the physical world, but it is not a separate experience. You must root that. You must be anchored in the understanding that your desires are meant to actually become physical. So as we get more into practices and rituals when it comes to Taurus season, I'm going to share with you some ideas, okay? One of them, very popular, is daily grounding. Ground yourself. Now, yes, I'm talking about grounding in terms of barefoot on the grass, in the dirt, in the sand, right? Most people prefer sand, but most people don't have access to the sand. But grass, go ground yourself. Just be and stand and allow yourself to just level out that energy. Send that negative energy down to the ground where it can be properly recycled and taken in. Okay. That is going to help you in terms of getting rid of the, false doubt, right? This sense of feeling unworthy, the insecurities, things of that nature is going to help you get anchored in to recognizing that you are the creator. And if you desire this thing, then it is meant for you to actually create it. So another grounding technique is meditation, also breath work. Okay. A very important thing to do is very, people say that is very, very impactful is journaling. Okay. Me personally, I journal periodically. I have my moments of journaling and then I had to take a minute and take a break. I have my moments, then I take a break. Many people, though, they are consistently journaling every single day. So you need to have a mindset journal that's very important, and I recommend you try. And what it will do is it will help you to recognize like what you believe, especially when it comes to materializing, receiving who you are, as a creator, who you are as it relates to the universe. Okay. So if you have, say, a goal to create money, to attract money, then you're going to make a money mindset journal. And then you're going to ask yourself questions about your belief when it comes to worthiness and receiving finances, money. Okay. Maybe it's a question of like, why do you doubt charging more for a product or service that you may have or offer, right? Maybe, you're feeling stuck at a job, but yet you don't have a sense of worthiness that you can get a better job. So the journaling will help you to unlock all of that. If it's relationships, write down things that you noticed about your relationships. And that will help you to recognize certain patterns or belief systems about yourself and your connections with others. So sensory visualization is another thing. Engage all the senses as much as you can when it comes to visualizing your desire. So for example, off the cuff, I'm thinking, okay, if I want to lose weight, then I want to incorporate maybe smells that that resonate with the lifestyle that I wish to have, right? You wish to be healthier. So smell your food. Take time, smell your food more. Program your brain to enjoy it, to like it, to need it, to desire it. Look at the food. Make sure you pick the, most natural looking food, fruits and vegetables, vibrant colors. Don't just eat things that are just white, meaning even if they are natural, like don't just buy kale all the time. Not kale, I'm sorry. Don't just buy cauliflower. If you buy kale, great, that's green, but don't buy a bunch of stuff like cauliflower, white rice, white bread. Make sure vibrancy is a big part of your visualization, of that thing, particularly we're talking about health, the sounds. What does the vegetables sound like, right? Even if you're working out, what does the gym sound like? Like, think about all that stuff and incorporate that into your visualization. If you're thinking about money, what does money feel like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? If you're somebody who's like digital and just want to see the digits, okay, look at the digits. Get that sound on your phone that goes cha-ching, every time you get a notification. But you can do this spread out throughout the day, or you can have a moment where you just focused on this sensory, practice of visualization. Okay. Build physical routines, right, that support your manifestation. So, if it's money, budgeting, meal planning, if it's fitness, if it's like health, if you're trying to lose weight, think about your fitness, like figure out those routines. And it doesn't have to be anything drastic or dramatic. It can be something minor and small, but you want to make sure that it's consistent during this time. That's the key. Make sure it is consistent, because this is about building the groundwork, grounding in the understanding of patience, right? The understanding of consistency. The most important thing about making something consistent is making it sustainable, making it something that you can do and it doesn't cause you to break a sweat. It doesn't cause you to feel, you know, feel any kind of anxiety or stress. Something that you can do. Okay. Create beauty around you during this time. So get into decluttering. This is the time where people usually do like their spring cleaning. So you want to get into that, right? Get into the decluttering, redesign your space, redesign your room, move furniture around. Think about the energy where you spend time the most, whether it be your office, whether it be your home, whether it be in your car. Be mindful about all that stuff. Create a space that's going to cultivate a mindset for you to actually take this desire, this thing that you are going to materialize and manifest, and cultivate the environment that supports that doesn't go against it. You want everything to be in alignment with that desire, with you. Okay? Affirmations around self-help and value, very important. Always affirm. Always live into the reality of that desire, manifested, materialized. Okay. Now, during the season, you may experience certain blocks that you got to watch out for. You got to be mindful of, because we are being intentional about how we're going to use this season to materialize that which you want, desire. You have to be clear that there's going to be some resistance within you, because you are shifting, you are changing, okay? You are transforming into your truer self. So the false self, the old self, is going to throw some things at you to kind of throw you off, okay? One of those things is attachment to being in your comfort zone. Now, I'm not saying, again, do something drastic and dramatic, but be mindful that this time, it's about anchoring you in a new way of being. Right? A new frequency. So there's going to be a part of you that is going to be resistant, because there may be moments where you're going to be uncomfortable. Things may be feeling awkward. That's okay. You recognize that, but then you remember what it is you're materializing. You remember that the materialization of that thing is actually going to lead you to your true self. So it's always bigger than that thing. The thing is just something to get us moving. Okay. During this time, you're going to experience resistance to change, resistance to growth. Okay. You're going to experience fear of not being worthy enough. Okay. Worthy enough to receive that thing that you desire. Now, the thing about that is, I want you to recognize you're not receiving it. Okay, because to receive something is kind of to think in terms of something outside of you is giving it to you. And we have this conversation a lot when it comes to manifestation about co-creation. Let's change that. Let's change that altogether. It's creation. It's not co-creation. You and the universe are one. So you are not co-creating with the universe. You are creating. All right. You are recognizing that the universe is your source, is the power that backs you, but you are one with that power. Yes, it is bigger than you, but it also is you. So no more talk about co-creation. No more talk about receiving. This is you creating. This is you materializing. This is you actually bringing into physical existence and reality. So one of those things is you're going to have this questioning, the doubt of your worthiness to actually do it, or of your power to actually do it. Okay? This is something that you're meant to do. Another block is over-identifying with materialism instead of the energy, right, or the more of the energetic alignment. It's not about the things. Understand that the things attract us so that way we can kind of bring our egos along. But once we materialize the thing, what we truly gain is the insight that we are creator, which often looks like confidence, right? It often looks like ownership of self. So you have to understand that one of the blocks is many times people over-identify with the material aspect of creation, with the material aspect of yourself, your body, right? Your looks, your color, your race, your culture, your religion. But it's not about that. It's always about the energy. So always remember that. Always come back to that. I'm going to share with you some affirmations during Taurus season. I am rooted in truth. I am rooted in the truth of my own worth. I am rooted in the truth of my own worth. I nurture my dreams with patience and power. I nurture my dreams with patience and power. One more. What I desire is also desiring me. What I desire is also desiring me. That one is the most powerful affirmation there is. So what I want you to do during this time is to really think about what it is that you want, okay? And ask yourself, like, in your life, what are you ready to stabilize and commit to? What are you understanding that this thing that you started during Aries season, you initiated, you took action. Now, what about that? Are you ready to anchor in as your foundation for moving forward in your commitment to this thing? Like, for example, what ritual, what practice, what hobby, what habit are you going to implement now in relationship to the materialization of that thing that you're going to focus on during this season of Taurus? That is what I want you to focus on. And so as we get more into each of the different seasons, we're going to progress into a deeper understanding of manifestation that aligns you with the actual cosmos, that aligns you with the actual astrological signs, right? The cycles of the planet, okay? And how they move in and out of different phases that relate to manifestation, and then really sends out the energy of materialization, right? Which is all there is this energy of materialization, the energy of creation. Some people often call it love, but love is an expression. And so you have to really focus in on using this time, though it's not necessary, right? It's not necessary to use these seasons to support you in the materialization of your thing. You can do it anyway, but why not have the backing of these signs, these cycles, to just make the process way simpler and even easier? Okay. So what are you going to do right now? Put in the comments, what are you going to do in this season of Taurus to get you grounded, to get you clear? Right? What are your objectives as far as your intention to focus and commit to during this time? Okay. I hope that supports you, because this information definitely supports me, and it allows me to see how I don't have to just simply focus on materializing the thing on my own in a way that is isolated to my body, or how I can actually use the universe and all of its expressions, the zodiac and the astrological calendar, how I can use that, the seasons, how I can use that, the moon cycles, how I can use that, you see, as a means of just adding more to my toolkit when it comes to materialization. And that is what I'm sharing with you. So take this, continue to create, because that is your nature. You are a creator. So create the life that you want. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.